we take this moment to still ourselves, recognizing that there is only one presence. There is only one presence. And that presence and that power is God. It is in this time of stillness that we center our attention on God. Relaxing our mind, relaxing our bodies. Centering ourselves, knowing that God is all there is. There is absolutely nothing else. It is in this time of stillness that we bring forth from our divine being all that we are. It is from this stillness that we can call forth all the peace that we need in any given moment. It is in this stillness that we can bring forth from within us all of the health that we could ever need in whatever form that health needs to take place. As I call forth the divine health, I recognize that power, that energy, energizing every cell, every muscle, every bone in my physical body. As I call forth that one presence and one power that is within me, all of the love that I could ever need is now present in my life. And as that one presence and one power comes forth, I now feel my own worth. I now feel accepted. I now feel the oneness that there is with all creation. Not only do we experience that oneness, but this is our opportunity to share that oneness outside of these walls. This is our opportunity to spread that joy that we have with everyone. So right now we bless. We call forth that good, because that's what to bless means. To call forth good in our city. This is our opportunity to bless and call forth the good everywhere. This is our opportunity to share the presence of peace with all people, regardless of background, regardless of race, regardless of creed, regardless of country. This is our opportunity to declare peace everywhere. We declare this to be so in the name and through the power that is in the name and very nature of our master teacher and elder brother, Jesus the Christ. Amen and I wasn't quite sure how today was going to go. Keep it real with you. I really wasn't sure because all week there's been a sense of confusion. There's been a sense of unrest behind everything that happened last Sunday. After really thinking about it and praying about it, the Sunday after something like that, I knew that I had to be the one to address our congregation today. Which is why I'm here on the first Sunday instead of away like I normally am the first Sunday. So I said, God, what is it that I tell your people behind something like that? And the message was very, very clear to me as to what I needed to discuss today. And that is how we are going to operate, or what the desire for our operation to be going forward after something like what happened last week. I want us to operate out of wisdom, not fear. I want us to do this not just because of, or not just related to what happened last week, because I got to address it. I want us to always learn how to operate out of wisdom and not fear. Wisdom is the ability to use knowledge. Fear is the painful emotion that's marked by alarm. Fear is the painful emotion that's marked by dread. Fear is the painful emotion that's marked by tragedy. I want you all to know very clearly that this is not a time for cute antidotes, if I said that word properly. It has been said so many times, and it is true that fear is false evidence appearing real. There is something serious going on.
Yes.
And this is not a time for cute little sayings. They work, they help, yes. But y'all, this is serious. And I want us to learn what fear is and what it does. What fear does is it paralyzes our mental actions. For some people, fear will cause them to do some very unorthodox or strange things. And that is not how I want us to operate. As I was working on this, that this really is a prosperity lesson too, by the way, y'all. Whatever energy we put into something determines the direction in which we go. I'm probably going to be jumping around from place to place today, so just bear with me and follow along as best you can. I think you will be able to. There are some actions that need to be taken in times like this, and those actions must be taken using wisdom and not fear. So the intent that we act right now is going to make a big difference. One phrase that was said by someone that I really admire a few years ago is very applicable to what we as a community are facing. When they go low, we go high. So what does that mean? To go high. This is why I asked Brad to sing that song earlier. It's not about us doing nothing. It's time for us to do something. So what does it mean to go high? It means that every step we take must be intentional. Our movements, our actions must be strategic. Does it mean that we're not hurt because of what happened? No. Does it mean that we're not shaken? No. It just means that we operate from a different perspective. We will not fly off the handle and just go willy-nilly. There are some times, and you've heard me say this before, and you all have experienced this, when you go to the doctor and check your reflexes.
Yep.
And they hit that point right there. And that knee just does that. You see, that's what happens to a lot of people when tragedy happens. They begin to give knee-jerk reactions. They don't use wisdom first. They operate from that painful emotion. So when I said that we have to work from wisdom and not fear, there is a quote by Emmett Fox that one of my mentors, one of my good buddies, has jokingly said he popularized. There is no such thing as undemonstrated understanding. Whatever it is that you understand, whatever it is that we believe, that and only that is what is going to be demonstrated. Now, this is difficult for some people to accept because I like to give it that way and then turn it around as well. Whatever it is that is being demonstrated in our lives is there because it is directly related to our belief.
Yes.
We cannot demonstrate what we do not believe. And the only thing that is demonstrated in our lives, in our world, and in our affairs is what we believe. That means that nobody anywhere can do anything to you or for you. We can only manifest and demonstrate what we understand. But that's the way Emmett Fox put it. Scripturally, it is said this way: for every tree is known by its own fruit. In the song that I asked Brad to sing, it said, it is time to do something. There are too many times that we talk a good talk, and that's about all it is. It's a good talk. It's time to, as the song said, do something. You are known by your own fruit. And I've said, occasionally I kind of like laughed the first time I heard the words come out of my mouth as I was standing here in this pulpit and said it, is that there are so many times that you can say, I'm an apple tree, I'm an apple tree, I'm an apple tree. You can make that affirmation over and over again, I'm an apple tree, I'm an apple tree. But if there's oranges all around you, something ain't right with that picture. You shall know a tree by the fruit it bears. It is on me right now to really begin to look at the fruit that we are bearing. And this is why I wanted to put it in my message to say thank you, Gina and Larry, because you have shaken something up in me to say, okay, quit talking about it and start doing something about it.
Yes.
If we say that we love people, why do we get bent out of shape when someone does something that we don't agree with or something that we don't like? You see, we're talking apples but producing oranges. I want us to, as a congregation, to start working a little harder on getting some things done. I was a little hesitant on how I was going to go with this message simply because we're broadcasting live on Facebook, and this is going on YouTube later on, and it's also going to be in the website, but I don't care right now. There's some things that I'm going to bring out in today's message that are rather sensitive. Coming from the regional conference, one of the discussions was on critical conversations and being able to have the conversations that will cause some discomfort among some of us. Trust me, I was very hesitant in doing this. But in view of what has happened, it was a quiet Sunday morning in Birmingham, Alabama, around 10:24 on September 15, 1963, when a dynamite bomb exploded in the back stairwell of the downtown 16th Street Baptist Church. A violent blast ripped through the wall, killing 4 African American girls and injuring more than 20 inside the church. On Sunday, September 28th, 2025, an Iraq war veteran unleashed a barrel of bullets during a packed service at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and set the building ablaze in Grand Blanc, Michigan. 4 people were killed and 8 others were injured. This is an aerial view of what is left. I do not want to draw emphasis to the time period, but it was something to me to look at it that at 10:24 on September 15, 1963, and then at approximately the same time on a Sunday, September 28, 62 years later, something that drastic happened again. I want you to know that the class, The Eye of the Storm, was no accident.
Right. Yeah.
That class was strategically placed at this time. In the weather, or in meteorological terms, there are certain conditions that must be present in order for a storm to take place. For there to be a hurricane, there's got to be certain conditions in place for that to happen. Moisture in the air has to be either over a certain point or under a certain point. The temperature has to be over a certain point or under a certain point. And when those things come into play along with pressure, that is what creates a storm. All of the confusion, everything that we are experiencing or that we are watching today, this class is letting us know that there is some type of storm going on, just like the weather. There are some conditions that must be in place for there to be conflict. And I want to talk today very briefly about what those conditions are. First of all, there cannot be any storm, there cannot be any conflict if there is no idea of separation. Separation is the first wind of conflict. What do I mean by separation? How can you say separation causes conflict? What it is, conflict is the illusion that you are cut off from God. Separation is the illusion that you are cut off from others. That is the illusion of separation, that I'm here and you are there. Separation, or this idea, has caused problems throughout the country for years. And we see the result of this idea of separation, because what that idea of separation does is, this is why I said I knew this was going to be a difficult lesson to address, is this idea of separation begins to bring about superiority. that causes conflict. Another wind of conflict, or another condition, that when this condition is there, you can bet your bottom dollar that there's going to be some problems. And that is misperception. I want you to understand this, that circumstances are neutral. But it's the meaning that people give it. Conflict intensifies when we misinterpret other people's words, when we misinterpret other people's actions, or we misinterpret their intentions, and we don't know why somebody did what they did, but we come up with our own story based on what we have experienced or what we think, and it's not always true because we don't have all of the information. Misperception always causes some type of conflict. The next wind, or the next thing that causes problems is competition. Now, competition arises from the belief in scarcity. The idea that there's not enough to go around. As if there's not enough to go around, then what I have to do is work harder to get it, because if I don't get it, then that means someone else does, and if somebody else gets it, that means that I'm going to have less. And if there's not enough, if the ideal of scarcity is there, you good, Carmen?
Yeah.
You good? Okay. Is there anything that you need? All right, I just want to make sure you're all right. This belief in scarcity says that there's not enough, so therefore I have to watch and make sure that I get my portion, because nobody else should be able to get it. And if I have something and there's not enough and somebody else has something or don't have it over there, they're going to try to get mine. Competition, this wind of competition has under it the idea that if you win, I lose. It also has enrooted or embedded in it the idea of, for me to succeed, you got to fail. When that idea or that belief is there, trust this, there's going to be some type of a storm. There's going to be some type of resistance. There's going to be some type of friction. The fourth wind of conflict is defensiveness. Now, defensiveness is the natural protective response of the ego when it feels threatened. The time you feel threatened, the time a person feels threatened, what's going to happen is they are going to get defensive. Now, being defensive or going on the defense is what we do after, watch this, this is so good. After we feel or acknowledge any type of separation. we get defensive, or a person is going to get defensive because they have misperceived what is going on. Not so much as what anyone else, and it does include this, what someone else has done or said, but there's a misperception about themselves. They get defensive because there is competition. They feel that there is lack. There's not enough. I got to get mine and make sure that nobody else gets it. These four winds of conflict are very, very prevalent right now. Which brings me to the beginning of our service. I always state at the beginning of service, welcome to Unity Church of Flint. I want to stop right there. Welcome. That song, My Soul is Welcome Here, is not just pretty words. When I said that we are known by the fruit that we bear, we have to, not just in the song that we sing, in every action that we take, make sure that everyone feels welcome when they are here. And it has been brought to my attention that sometimes that is not the case. It's sad to say, but there are some times that a person has let me know that they don't feel welcome. And I want to make for sure that we adjust the things that we do and the things that we say so that our actions match our words. Welcome to Unity Church of Flint, where we believe and teach that everyone is a spiritual being created in God's image. I have to emphasize that. Where we believe. Meaning it has to be more than just me that believes and teaches that everyone is a spiritual being. The difficulty is we begin to look only at the outer. We look only at the actions. We only look at what is appearing and not looking at who they really are. When we're talking about the 5 basic unity principles, when I say at the beginning of service that every one of our services are based on the 5 basic unity principles, the one that I want to focus on today is the divinity of humankind. Now, it is said in several different ways, but it all means the same thing, that humankind is made in the image, likeness of God. I have to say this every time I talk about this. Mankind, humankind is made in the image and likeness of God. But what has happened over time, we have switched that around and tried to make God in man's image. And that's where we get it twisted. Humankind, or human beings, are inherently good because we are connected to and an expression of spirit. We are an expression of spirit. That means pressed out of. Expressed, pressed out. So each one of us are an expression of spirit, but that's where sometimes we stop. We can say that we are an expression of spirit. But can we really go as far to say that everybody else is an expression of God?
We should. Yes.
Exactly. The dilemma is, everybody is an expression of God, and I can get along with them as long as they vote the way that I do. Everyone is an expression of God as long as they shop where I shop. That's why I said this is some heavy stuff, and it's going to get heavier in just a minute. Trust that. Because we keep talking about we do this. But there's a problem. Dealing with the divinity of humankind, we are spiritual beings created in God's image. It is difficult for us to, or some people I should say, to understand that we're created in God's image because their perception of God is warped, or they have a different perception of God. So to be created in that image is difficult to understand or difficult to express, because the idea of God is that God blesses and punishes. So if that's the idea or perception of God, or if that is the belief, then to say that I'm created in God's image means that, oh, I have the right to bless or punish someone else. That is not what we teach here. We teach that everyone is an expression of God. Here's where it was difficult for me. June 12th, 1963, Medgar Evers, a civil rights leader, was assassinated in Mississippi. But on September 10th, 2025, an American right-wing political activist, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated. Now, do not try to, no, I'm not going to say do not try to. I don't want the emphasis put on that both of these examples took place almost exactly 62 years to the date when that church in Alabama was bombed, and then this church in Red Blanc had its tragedy. It was almost 62 years to the date from when Medgar Evers was assassinated and Charlie Kirk was assassinated. The critical conversation that I want to have here, or where we're going to go moving forward, is not in what either one of these individuals believed. But where I want us to begin to really look at is the conflict that goes on that'll make anyone, any person, feel like they need to eliminate the life of another spiritual being. regardless of their political beliefs, regardless of their religious affiliation. I am a unique, individualized expression of God is something that I want us to be able to say about every individual. Even, watch this, here's where it gets hard for some people. Both of these men were gunned down. Can we bless or call forth the God, call forth the good in the gunman that pulled the trigger on both of those men? That's why I said this is some heavy stuff. If I can feel one way for one and a different way for the other one, then I have not lived my truth. The idea of separation is still there. There is still some competition going on somewhere. There is still some misperception. Not about them, but it's about me. What is it in me that says it is okay for one person to lose their life, but not for the other? Our job, our role here, is to begin to look at things in a wiser light. This is why there were some people that I spoke to during the week that had started saying how scared they were to go to church because a church was bombed, a church was, shot up. They're not operating out of wisdom. They're operating out of fear.
Yes.
Operating out of wisdom is what Dee brought to our attention today. In the event of fire in here, what do we do? We're not addressing that, or the purpose of my message today is not to address this out of fear, like, oh my God, what happens? But no, that's not where we are. If this is where we are, then y'all might as well let me go now and bring somebody else in here. What we have to look at is, okay, how do we make wise decisions? What is it that we really need to do? What would we do had that been us? We need to know where the emergency exits are in here. And I'm pretty sure that there's some of you who don't even know where the third exit door is in this building. If there were something to happen, if something were to happen, where do you go? What do you, that's what I mean. I say operating out of wisdom, not fear. Yes, the fire extinguishers are in here. We need to know about that. Another thing, operating out of wisdom, do you know that we do have first aid kits in the building? Okay. Question, do you know where they are? These are parts of, do we know, okay. Then that's why I said this is part of the critical conversation, some of the things that we need to learn. And in my outside occupation from here, that's something that I have to go through all the time.
Yeah.
But I will bring someone in to show us all how to operate a fire extinguisher properly, or the correct way to use a fire extinguisher. Because I've watched people do it completely wrong, and the fire is still going. We have to know how to direct the flame. Ooh, that's a spiritual message right there.
Yeah.
Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, Mayor Neely is having a meeting with all faith-based leaders, and I will be there. I did send a long letter to the mayor's office saying I need some questions answered, and it came back that there were a lot of other ministers, faith-based leaders in the area that were asking the same questions. And one of the questions that I asked was, what would be the response time had that took place in Flint as opposed to Grand Blanc?
Good question.
That's one of the questions that I will be putting to not only the mayor, but the police department as well. I'm operating out of wisdom. I need us to be prepared, or at least know what to do if something happens, and if something goes down. Which is why I asked for this song, because this puts us in the right idea as to how we move forward from here. People, we're all in this together. And the only way we are going to succeed, and the only way that we're going to move forward, is if we learn how to go high when things go low. We don't need it there. We need it at a different level. And this shows us exactly what to do. Thank you very much.
I don't want to be afraid every time I face the waves. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to feel the storm just because I hear it roar. I don't want to feel the storm. I don't want to feel the storm. Peace, be still, say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea.
Let's see.
Battery?
Look at it. Battery.
Oh, plug in the PC. Well, I don't keep it plugged in.
My battery's running a little low, but I didn't think anybody would notice.
Still all good.
Peace, be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. I'm not gonna be afraid, cause these waves are only waves. I'm not gonna be afraid. No, I'm not gonna be afraid. I'm not gonna fear the storm. You are greater than its roar. I'm not gonna fear the storm. No, I'm not gonna fear it all. Peace, be still. my feet upon the sea, till I'm dancing in the deep. Peace, be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. Peace, peace over me. Speak peace. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Let faith rise up, oh heart, believe. Let faith rise up in me. Peace, be still, say the word, and I will set my feet upon the sea, till I'm dancing in the deep. Peace, be still, you are here, so it is well. Even when my eyes can't see, I will trust the voice that speaks. Peace, peace over me. Peace, peace over me. Oh, peace over me. You speak peace. You speak peace over me. You speak peace. You speak peace. You speak peace. You speak peace.
I want to thank you, Brad, for still holding your ground and continuing with the song, because that is evidence, or it shows us a good example of what happens. Things don't always go the way we plan. Things don't always go the way we work. We want them to. It would be nice if they did, but when they don't, do you still keep affirming peace? I am going to still keep affirming peace, even though what will happen, and the evidence is already there. I've seen this happen enough times in this congregation. I'm going to call somebody in from either the fire department or some safety commission somewhere to come in and show us how to use the fire extinguishers properly. But I can almost guarantee you that when I do that, somebody's going to say, oh, well, I can't make it because da-da-da-da-da-da. When we have the active shooter training, when I bring them in, what's going to be the reason that some people give for not being able to be here to do what we need to do to be able to protect ourselves.